Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. The Flyers win 5-3, and don't get me wrong, they really needed this win. They did. I don't care how it happens because they went to Boston and they only got 1 out of a possible 4 points. I didn't even get a chance to react to that second game, but I'm honestly glad that I didn't because it was that putrid and they fell apart. It was miserable. They had no clue what they were doing. They looked lost, and they were making bad plays left and right, poor decision making with the puck, and they were turning it over at will. I couldn't bear discussing it. I had to sit through it, damn it. I couldn't even imagine discussing it for 30 plus minutes. So, you know what? Good that I didn't break down that second game. But I am not happy with what I saw in this 5-3 outcome. So I'm acknowledging that this is very important and this team needed to grab some sort of positive thing here because it's been bad play. It's been a really bad stretch for this Flyers team. So I can see that. And I know that getting a win is meaningful. But I'm sorry. There are so many problems that are reoccurring. Now, I can ask the question, are you seeing these problems because of the injuries? If Sean Couturier was available, if Phil Myers was available, would you be as frustrated? And that's a great question. I really don't know the answer. I think when they finally return, I'll have a better feel on things, right? I'll have a better pulse on things because then I can have something to compare it to. Well, will things be fixed? Will you see the same flaws? Will you see the same mistakes? If they come back and you don't, well, then I'll feel a little bit better about this team. But right now, I am down in the dumps because I don't think you can win with what you are doing out there. You might be able to beat the Devils. And look, people are a little high on the Devils right now. It's a little cute high. Like, oh, yeah, oh, look at the Devils. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, Hughes, oh, we can make some plays. They still stink. At the end of the day, they might work harder than they did last year, and they might be a tad better, and they might be heading in the right direction, but ultimately, they're still not this fantastic hockey team. If you played this way against a different opponent, I don't think you will get the same outcome. What happened in the first period, it scarred me. It really did. The fact that you had multiple breakaways for the Devils, like, what are you doing? Luckily, they hit the post. Brian Elliott came up big, and then he had the huge save on Hughes. The Hughes save was actually the first one that occurred. I kind of worked backwards there. It was the big save on Hughes. It was the big breakaway save by Brian Elliott. And then on the third trip, it ended up hitting the post. So, like, what are you doing? You're falling asleep that early in the game. You come out that flat so early in the game. A really good squad. It would at least be 2-0 the opponent. And if you're lucky, 1-0 the opponent. But it could have been 3-0. 3-0 with the blink of an eye. And maybe, just maybe, if Carter Hart was in net, maybe you don't get the same result. I thought Scott Hartnell said something pretty interesting post-game. Since it's a shortened season, a 56-game season, if Brian Elliott is the guy that's going to be a little bit better for you right now, you got to stack wins. You got to get victories. You got to beat up on your division. That's the only damn teams you play. There's no room or time to be feeling out if Carter Hart can get into rhythm. And I'm not even blaming Carter Hart for his struggles. I think he needs to be better. That that short side goal from Brad Marchand against the Bruins, that type of save he needs to make. But there's plenty of times where there's 2-on-0s down low by the goal line right in front of the crease because there's defensive breakdowns and nobody's picking up their men after a turnover to the point where I feel bad for him because he's getting left out to dry majority of the time. Now, he still needs to be better, but I bring it up because right after Carter Hart is smashing his stick against the crossbar and throwing his stick towards the glass, you go with the veteran and Brian Elliott and you pull out a win. He also is coming off of a 40-save shutout the game prior that he played. So I'm just looking at it with a set of eyeballs here saying Brian Elliott seems to be playing a little bit stronger right now. You know Carter Hart is the future. You know Carter Hart is the guy, and I think he's a phenomenal goalie. But based off of circumstances, how do you weigh that? You have a shortened season, and you need to continue to get wins. I don't know if you get the same outcome if Carter Hart's in net. Those big saves early. Not that Carter Hart can't make big saves early. Let's be clear. But Hart is coming off of a very frustrated moment. He's very pissed off. He seems to be a little bit all over the place mentally because he's this cool, calm, collected guy, someone who doesn't have a ton of personality. When you see someone voice their frustration and you see that type of demeanor, well, I think that tells me upstairs maybe he's not fully locked in, fully engaged because he's so worried about what's going on. He's putting a lot of stress on himself. And when you put that type of stress on your back, well, it's not so simple and so easy to play and perform at your best. So just something to look at moving forward here. I think Carter Hart's obviously going to get some time. I'm just curious how Alain Vigneault elects to ride this thing out because I think right now, at this very moment at least, Brian Elliott is making a bit of a push, but he's also 30-plus years old, older. I always question every time we see a good outing out of him, are you seeing him play so strong because he's playing limited time? If you rely on him heavily, will you see a beaten down version of Brian Elliott? And one of the reasons why he's being really successful in between the pipes is because you're not asking him to do so much on a night-to-night basis. I think it's a fair question to ask. By the way, we are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. So there's negatives in this one, but there's also some positives. So while I thought that they were getting outworked and outcompeted, they get a power play and they score on the power play, keeping it simple, something I've really been screaming about. Keep it simple. Let's not try and get too cute. Let's not try and get too pretty. This team has been outshot a number of games this year. Let's pepper netminders. Let's throw the biscuit on net and see what happens. You had success being simple on the power play before this year, early game one. Like, you've seen it happen. Build off of that. And what do they do here? They put JVR right where he pays his bills in front of the net, and Provorov is throwing bombs on net, and he's beautifully tipping them. Now, he has worked on this so damn much that it comes second nature to him. The fact that he nonchalantly tips these pucks left side of his body, right side of his body, forehand, backhand, you name it. Like the shot that Provorov just blasted on net. It's not even hitting the pipes. It's not even seriously on net. But because JVR can utilize his twig and tip it back towards the net and put it right in the twine, it's outstanding. JVR finding his groove early this season, I think, is very important. He was in a funk last year. For him to start out this hot, when you signed him, you thought, okay, this guy could potentially, now could be a reach what I'm saying here, but if you were talking about the ceiling of what JVR can provide, 35, 40 goals, like in that range, ceiling. Do I expect that? No, not necessarily. But JVR can score goals is my point. They're not coming down the wall, Ovechkin, rip it, sick, disgusting snipe type goals, but he has a role, and he finds a way to hang around the goalie, take away the eyes, greasy goals, and tip-ins. It really doesn't matter how it happens. If you thrive in that area, that's all I care about. But right now on the power play, that's working. It happened 2 times with about 5 minutes left in the first period, and then again, it was almost like deja vu to start the second period. You're now up 2-0. Now, I felt defeated and deflated during that time because I seriously didn't believe the Flyers deserved that lead. I thought the Devils deserved the lead at that time. But, look, sometimes that's going to happen. Sometimes you're not going to play your greatest, but the team you're playing against is going to take penalties, and you have a chance. So how can I be mad that the Flyers earned the power play? The other team made mistakes, and they elected to score some goals when the other team made their mistakes. That's what good teams do, so that's a positive. The power play got going, and when the team they were playing made a bad decision, whether it's PK Subban or anybody else on that D-core was weak, the Flyers said, okay, guess what? Keep making those mistakes. You want to continue to gift us some man advantages? Fine. Give us some more goals then, damn it. So I like that. What I didn't like is how the Devils responded. Whether it was McLeod getting not a cheap one, but I thought that was an one where it squeaks through Brian Elliott and it slowly falls behind him and he can see the puck just barely moving like a snail, and it passes the goal line, and that was a weak one, 2-1, and then Zajac gets one, just one where you're just mucking in the right spot at the right time kind of thing, but the Devils tied it up, bang, bang, in that second period. That second period, the Flyers, I talk about their power play, and I actually just praised what they did, and to be fair, big picture, it was solid. But they did have a chance to pepper another one, almost to make a 3-0 put a stamp on it. But the Devils created a little bit of energy, a little bit of momentum there, and that somewhat allowed that surge, that Devils pushback to occur for them to tie the game. Big momentum swings here. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, and I hate right now that this Flyers team, their emotional roller coaster is so extreme and so low. It's like really fantastic, getting on the forecheck, creating turnovers, taking away time and space in the offensive zone to get good looks because you're putting pressure on their defensemen, because you're taking the body, because you're getting your stick on puck. Well, guess what? You're getting good looks based off of that. But then there's times where it is so bad. It looks like mites. It looks like A-level mites that don't know what to do, and they hesitate with the puck on their stick, and they're just making poor decisions. That's what I can't comprehend. You're a defenseman, and you need to make an outlet pass. It shouldn't be that hard. Now, you can look at the forwards and make the argument that maybe they're not doing such a great job at helping out their defensemen. Look, I was a stay-at-home D-man my whole damn career. If it's anyone who's going to recognize that maybe the support of the wingers, they aren't getting low enough to give that defenseman that outlet, there's no doubt that everyone has their fingerprints on why this gets messy at times. So, sure, but there's plenty of times where these D-men, like, they're trying to make this outlet pass that just gets picked off so easily, and here comes the Devils the other way. It's ridiculous. And speaking of the defenseman, I think we got to give credit to Shane Gostisbehere. I've been low on Shane Gostisbehere. I just don't want to put a lot of hype into him. He had one great season. He came onto the scene red hot, phenomenal, but he hasn't really been that version of himself in so damn long. So for me to sit here and expect that to be the Shane Gostisbehere that we get, well, I don't think that that's fair to him. I really don't. I don't think that's fair to him because he hasn't really been that in so damn long. I think it's crazy. But in this game, considering the circumstances, coming off of COVID-19, knowing that this D-core has been flat out bad, I thought he made some strong plays. I thought he made great decisions. He played just under 22 minutes, and he was a +2 rating playing with Ivan Provorov, something hopefully that you can build off of. And when I look at this D-core, I don't like Robert Haig. I don't like Justin Braun. I don't like Friedman. I don't like, Gustafsson. I don't like these guys. So prior to Gostisbehere getting back into the lineup, 4 of the 7 defensemen that I just spitballed, I don't like, and I think they're bad, and I think that that's one of the big correlations to why you are seeing the breakdowns defensively. They're not very good. I like Myers, I like Sanheim, and both of those guys still have some raw times and some poor plays here and there because, well, they're so young in the league and they're still learning themselves and still establishing who they are. But them and Provorov, like those 3 guys, Ghost's still a question mark to me. But all those other guys, I just don't think they're good. I really don't. And I hate to make it seem like one guy makes that much of a difference in Matt Niskanen. How do you go from reasonable to a disaster? Well, guess what? Ivan Provorov now has to be a different Ivan Provorov. When Matt Niskanen was on the ice, he could be up and down, right? Lethal, take chances because you got Matt Niskanen behind you if you do pinch. And maybe it wasn't the best pinch, but you can rely on him to be back there. Now, Ghost is the guy that you're supposed to rely on if you're Ivan Provorov. No, Ivan Provorov now has to play the Matt Niskanen role, and that takes away from what I thought Ivan Provorov did last season. That's not to say he can't be an offensive-minded guy. That can't say he's not going to pursue and join the rush or maybe be the high guy at times, but it changes the whole dynamic. And realistically, Justin Braun probably wouldn't have been on the team if Matt Niskanen returned, and that would have elevated something else. I just don't like the D-core, and I don't think I'm being too hard on them. I think I'm being realistic. Do I think these guys have roles? Like, I go through this all the time. Does Justin Braun have a 6-man role? Sure, maybe, but my problem is I just named you 4 out of the 7 defensemen that I don't think really should be players. And they play decent amount of minutes because, well, you have holes on that core, on the defensive side of the ice. Oh, I'm a little annoyed. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little annoyed. But I thought that third period, the Flyers, they had moments. And those moments, luckily, resulted in goals. And look, I think those moments were very noticeable and very strong plays. Was it all strong in the third? No. But those strong ones that stood out to me, you ended up getting some bingos, and that essentially finished the job and got you 2 very important points. But before we get to that, I need to let you know about my friends over at DraftKings. Pigskin fans, the moment you have been waiting for all season is right around the corner, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55, is bringing back their golden ticket giveaway with up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter DraftKings' free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. And if you have the most predictions correct, you can win the top prize of $1 million. Download the app, enter the free prediction challenge, answer questions like who will score last, and boom, get ready to make it rain. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code Brodes to enter the free $55 million Super Bowl prediction challenge. Everyone gets an instant prize up to $25,000 just for playing. So use promo code Brodes now and enter the free $55 million Super Bowl challenge. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55. Terms, conditions, and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. What an amazing, amazing offer. All right, so in the third period, Nolan Patrick gets on the board. He scores a goal. You saw him score early this season. First goal of his season was the first game of the year, where he's not net front, but he's in the slot area. The puck gets shot from the point. It hits off of his body and redirects into net. Fantastic. It really doesn't matter how it goes in. He put himself in a situation where he was taking away the goalie's eyes, not necessarily right into his breadbasket, right there with his ass glued to the paint, but you can still take away the eye. There's layers to screening, right? You can take away the eyes in many different ways, and when you have someone camping out, and then you also have someone in the high slot area, that can still be very beneficial to screening the goalie. Well, he did that in game 1. Here, I thought he made an outstanding play, getting the puck from the side of the net, from behind the goal line to the side of the net, passing it to Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux with a lot of patience. Did I want him to shoot? There was a little bit of me that thought he had a good chance if he would have ripped it on that short side, maybe over the glove. I saw a hole there, but he elected to wait out the defenseman, and he kind of has a lot of poise, sends it back to Nolan Patrick in the slot area, who puts it on net, and it was a really nice goal. Great puck movement between the two. Great patience from the captain, and I think we all saw that he is now the longest captain in Flyers history, which is crazy. I'm sure a lot of the old heads around here won't like to hear that because there's so much Giroux slander. It's pathetic. It really is. But Claude Giroux makes a stellar play. I'm just proud with Nolan Patrick, though, because you're going to need a lot out of him. You talk about the depth of this team. Nolan Patrick was one of those internal additions that you acquired from last season to this year. You're going to have to ask a lot of him. You're going to have him get on that score sheet and record points and score some goals. That was big, and I hope that builds his confidence moving forward. That gave them the lead, gave them a 3-2 lead. And then this goal here, look, I didn't think Scott Lawton had a great performance in the last handful of games, and he's been the one that's been moving up. The lines have been shuffling all the time. In game, before the game. You're trying to somewhat create an identity with the line, see what clicks, see if there's something that generates and gets going that you can move forward with. Well, Scott Laughton had a great forecheck, put pressure on the D. It resulted in a turnover, and then Joel Farabee cashes in. So Joel Farabee, another guy who started out so strong in game one. He had 4 damn points. He's been a bit quiet since. Well, this is big, and I just hope that these two guys can continue to get on that stat sheet, scoring points, get these guys going. It all started with establishing the forecheck. Get in below the goal line. Get the puck deep. Hit, bang bodies. Force the defenseman to make a bad play. Once they do, hop on it. Attack. Move the puck. Get puck movement. So they got that 2-goal lead, which was great. They got an empty net to make it 5-2. Ivan Provorov sends it all the way down. So he had 3 points. 1 goal, which was on the empty netter, and 2 assists. Those 2 bombs from the blue line. Walking the blue line. Getting a little bit of separation. Throwing the biscuit on net. Here's something, though, that bothers me a bit. And I don't think I'm nitpicking here. But the fact that the Devils scored so late after that empty net, it's somewhat of a microcosm of all of these issues. You have the lead. It's 5-2. Why are we doing this? Why are we playing games? Why are we allowing the Devils to create pressure and to somewhat get a little bit of momentum? Like, why? Why not shut it down? Why can't you put your stamp on this game? Put your Timberland boots on their necks and just shut it down. Shut them down. Chip pucks out of the zone. Look, I'm not asking for great zone entries and 3-on-2 rushes to score a late goal when you're already up 5-2. No, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for them to somehow get 4 more goals with a minute left in the game. All I'm asking for is crisp, clean, get out of the zones, like puck movement, tape the tape, use the boards, use the glass, throw the puck back into the neutral zone, force the Devils to leave the zone, re-enter, make it tough for them, gap up defensively, force them to dump it. Maybe Brian Elliott can come out of his net, play the puck, use the glass, get it back out of the zone, kill time. Really? Is that so much to ask for? Am I going out on a limb thinking that an NHL team with a 3-goal lead can walk away from a win without allowing the Devils to pursue a bit more offensively? In this outcome, did it make a difference? No, you still got the 2 points. But I'm talking more about the common issues, the common problems. That's part of it. You score a goal. Well, you let your foot up the gas. Okay, I don't care how much time's left. I've seen you take your foot off the gas when you're up 2-0 and it's the middle of the second period or it's late in the second period. So it doesn't matter if there's barely any time left in the game or not. I've seen you do that in the first period once you take a damn lead. It happens all the time. So once again, it's a defining error that is constantly occurring. And it annoys me. So I really do value the win. I want to make that clear. Knowing what happened in Boston and knowing how brutal that was, because let's be clear, what happened in Boston was an embarrassment. That first game, it was crazy. It was a wild finish. It ends up going to the shootout. You had a lead, you fought back. It's one of those emotional regular season games that you don't love that you lost the 2 points, or you didn't lose the 2 points, you lost 1 point because you ended up gaining 1 point just for going to overtime. But it's almost like you can dust that one off as long as you see what the next game provides. If you battle the next game and you go out there and you win, then okay, you take 3 or 4, you move on to the next one. But you got ran out of the building. You look like one of the worst teams in the entire NHL where you couldn't make a simple tape-to-tape pass and get anything going positively. You were getting abused physically and emotionally and mentally. You look like children out there. You needed to find a way to get off that. Get 2 points. No matter how. And they got that goal accomplished. I actually thought Alain Vigneault was a little more positive than I was. And maybe I'm in the outlier. Maybe I'm the one on a cliff here by myself. But when I watch this team, there's something missing. I can date this back to how I started this podcast, though. If Sean Couturier and Phil Myers returns and Ghost is salvageable and he can play and he gives you some positivity back there, will I see or feel differently? Well, based off of if I see a monster difference. But until this D zone gets cleaned up, Sean Couturier adds a lot to that. Because the other team's top forwards, you have a big matchup involved now. It's not as easy. It's not as simple. You got a Selke winner. This guy is one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL. So these top dogs that are able to zone entry or gain the zone with will, and maybe they're in the middle of the slot, they dish it over to the left side wall, they continue to drive the net, third man high, gets an easy pass in the slot. That doesn't happen if Sean Couturier is there holding his gap or holding the blue line, poking the puck away. It results in them going off sides, or maybe the transition of the Flyers heading the other way is the alternative there. That's going to be so important to this team. But right now, I'm struggling between this is who they are or this is who they are, because as much as we looked at their depth, when there's too many injuries, here's reality of the situation. You can't overcome that. The Eagles' offensive line, too many injuries. You can overcome some of their injuries once in a while, and you can plug guys in here and there throughout a second half of a game. But if you have 5 or 4 offensive linemen that are not accustomed to playing and you got to play them for 6 weeks, well, that's not going to be sustainable success. Is that where the Flyers are right now when you're rocking Bunneman and you're rocking Friedman and you're rocking guys like that? You know, the Gustafsson signing was supposed to be something that really helped this team. Well, now you're talking about him being a health bomb, and he's been one of the worst. People fell in love with those power play opportunities early for him. Yeah, guess what? There's a lot more to it than just a power play specialist. He's been damn bad in that D zone. You could be talking about a signing where this guy's a health bomb. You know? Really? Think about that. Think about that. You know what else you should think about? Orbit Energy and Power. They do fantastic work on your home. And with over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in residential and commercial projects. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. In addition, they will make sure you receive all the state and federal incentives available for switching to solar. There's no risk and no need for investment. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So check out all their information. It is down below. If this team just cleaned up their turnover issues, you're talking about a bunch of different results, a lot less goals on the board, and not as much dysfunction and running around like a chicken with their heads cut off in the D zone. There's so many times where the defenseman's in the wrong spot and there's 2 guys chasing the puck, which allows someone in the high slot to be wide open, or the forwards are sunken down a little too low. So when they go from low to high, that allows the defenseman to walk the blue line. That type of stuff, it's unacceptable. And if they clean up just the turnover side of things and stop running around, well, we'd be seeing a totally different hockey team. And it's just so frustrating because I see a win like this, and I see their record. I don't think their record really does tell you what this team is. Now, there are a lot going down this road. Look at this league right now. Look at all these teams. It's hard for squads to get their feet under them. It's not just the Flyers that are having all of these problems. Plenty of teams around the league that were supposed to be successful, Vancouver being one of them. They come out slow. They really don't know their identity yet. No training camp, no preseason. So no fans, playing a weird schedule, back-to-backs all the time, and playing the opponent in back-to-back games, I should say. Is that all one big factor on why you're seeing this from the Flyers and some from other teams in the NHL? I think it's fair, and I think that, sure, there's something to it. I also don't think that you should be making this many mental mistakes because there's no fans in the stands, because you're playing the same team twice in a row. You should be making passes in the middle of the slot and passes up the middle that are getting picked off and allowing transition plays to happen and odd man rushes and allowing 2-on-0s down by the goal line? Like, no, right? No. I can't accept that because of these circumstances. No. So I have to draw the line somewhere. So with that being said, I'm going to draw the line here. Thank you guys all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.